Hey guys, Tim here with the Long Hair Gardener, and today is going to be all about this pink tree behind me. Kind of, but not entirely. I just want to show you what it looks like because it is in full bloom and it looks absolutely beautiful. I also want to show you these sphere planters that I have here behind me, if I could get them in the shot, that are hanging from the tree. And I'm going to show you what this tree unfortunately has been doing to my planters that I have sitting on the ground here around them. So there's some roots causing some havoc that we need to address. But the first thing I want to do is spray paint these new hanging spheres that I have hanging from my tree. When I bought them, I think there were two options. One was rust, and the other one, I don't know what it was, but it was very shiny and wasn't something that I was interested in. And when I received these spheres, which are very nice, very heavy, I feel like they're good quality and they're gonna last a long time, but when the color was rust, they literally meant rust. So if you look here, they are literally rusting. So that's, I probably shouldn't be touching this because I'm about ready to spray paint them. But as you can see here, when I touch them, actual rust is coming off. So I think in the long run, I don't want these spheres just out here rusting away. So I bought some spray paint and I am just going to very quickly spray paint them with some black spray paint. This one specifically says rust tough. So it says direct to metal. So I think this is a good option for this particular application. It is a matte black. Maybe not 100% the color I was hoping for, but this is all that the hardware store had. I did have these other trellises here, which is basically the same material that I sprayed with a spray paint, and I think I used a hammered metal texture for the trellises, and that's what I was hoping for, but basically they did not have that. So we're just gonna make do with this one. So let's get started. I'm basically just spray painting these balls so that they last longer and look nicer. So it is a beautiful day. Temperature wise, there is some wind blowing every now and then. Hopefully I am not shaking the camera because I am trying to shake this spray paint. Let's pause for a minute. All right, we're back, and I think it's kind of perfect that Philadelphia, basically approaching summertime, lots of noise in the background. I feel like I say that every video, but this is what it's like living in Philadelphia. Very noisy. It's basically good that I have these hanging from the trees because I'm just going to spray them and I don't have to worry about the paint getting messed up. All right, an entire can of spray paint later, I am finished with these balls. They look good, and now that they're drying, it looks better than I thought it was going to. I guess since there was already a little bit of texture on there from the rust, it looks closer to that hammered metal effect that I was hoping for without actually having to buy that kind of spray paint. Anyway, they're done. I think they look good. This is the finished result. So hopefully they are a little bit more protected from the elements. So let's just stand back here and soak in this tree. So this is a Kwanzan cherry tree. We'll walk right over here where we can get a really good look. As I mentioned before, it is in full bloom. Like, this is peak bloom right here. Hopefully I'm not too close and the camera's not focused, but this is peak and it is absolutely stunning. This is a rented apartment, so I don't own this tree, I didn't plant this tree, but I do appreciate and enjoy the fact that it is here. This tree provides shade so that I can grow both shade and sun-loving plants. I did, let's just pull this into frame. I did make a comment one time about how much of a mess this makes, and that's true. I'm still standing behind that. Once all of these petals fall, I call it the Great Pink Snowfall. It basically just blankets everything with these petals, which looks pretty, but I do have to come in here and clean that up. Otherwise, it coats everything, all of my plants, all of my pots, and it kind of creates this impenetrable layer as they dry, and it will kill all of the plants that are buried underneath the leaves, or at least isn't going to help them in any way. Let's pause for the Philly noises. So just keep that in mind, that if you are interested in buying a tree like this, again, Kwanzan Cherry Tree, they're all over the city, they are beautiful. Maybe if you live somewhere where there's nothing growing underneath it, maybe you won't have to worry about the cleanup, but do keep in mind that if that is a concern of yours or an issue, you will have to clean all of these petals up, especially if it rains. Oh my God, when it rains, it just creates, like I said before, like this impenetrable layer of petals that kind of turn brown and get all funky, and basically it's just not a good situation. So there is the Kwanzan cherry tree. The balls are finished and they are drying. So the other thing, more Philly noises, that I wanted to talk about is the fact that I have several pots sitting on the ground right around the base of this tree. So I did that, and I'm pointing to this brown one over here. Of course, there's a couple of small ones, but I'm mostly focusing on these brown ones. And I put these plants in this garden just to create different heights and levels. But I did notice that these 3 pots have been underperforming, and I suspected that the tree, because again we're talking about the tree today, because the pot is sitting directly on the ground, it should be raised slightly, maybe put some bricks underneath it or something, just so the pot is not sitting directly on the ground. Because I don't know if you can see, I'm going to move the camera in here in a second, but there are tree roots going up into this pot. So let me just zoom in here real quick. So this is happening in all 3 of those pots. And that is why last year, and maybe a little bit the year before, I was not able to keep these pots watered. The plants were underperforming, and that's because these tree roots have decided to come up from the ground, climb inside the pot, and basically steal all of the water that I was putting in these pots. So what I'm going to do is I need to move these pots, dump out all the soil, pull out the roots, and basically sit them on something so that they're not sitting directly on the ground, so that that doesn't happen again. So let me just show you this big one. We were just over here looking at that one, and I know that this one has a huge root. There are also a lot of like creepy crawlers down here, bugs and spiders. So there is a gigantic root going into this pot, and all I'm gonna do to get started is just come in here and cut that root off. So let me just, there's a lot of bugs in here. Let me just show you how thick this root is. It's like the thickness of one of my fingers. So this tree has been robbing all of the nutrients and water from this pot. So I moved the pot and there are a lot of spiders. Like, I don't know what kind of spider this is, but there's one over here. I think I kind of crushed him. He's not looking too good. But there's another one right here. I don't know what these are. Not a huge fan of spiders, but I'm not going to kill them on purpose. I did have a couple bricks down here just to level it and so that it remained stable. But what I really need to do is have something that actually lifts it off the ground. So you can see when I turn this over how many roots are in this pot. I am going to come in here. I think, yeah, there's like some old, I put some wood in here basically from the tree, like some dead wood, hoping to save some space. So that's in here, but you can see tons of roots. So what I'm going to do is come through here. I'm going to do it with the other two pots too that we just took a look at, and remove all of the roots, reuse some of the soil by putting it in the bottom, and then top off these pots with fresh soil, and also maybe mix in some fertilizer in some of the soil that I reuse. This is looking pretty rooty. So it is going to take some work to get most of these roots out of here, but I don't want to have to get all new soil for 3 pots, because that is a ton of soil. I kind of wanted to get this piece out of here just so we could take a look. Actually, all of these little roots here, I think, are attached to this big one. All right, I have my pile of soil here. I also forgot that I put packing peanuts in the bottoms of these pots to provide good drainage, and I think that worked out pretty good. So I'm just gonna, or I already went through, pulled out the peanuts and put them back in here. Just walk over here. Yes, I am making a huge mess. These are all of the tree roots that I pulled out of those pots, which is kind of crazy. And now it's going to take a little time, but I'm okay with it. This is probably like a step that I don't need to do, but I really don't think it's going to take that long. And honestly, it's kind of fun. I'm just gonna rub the soil on top of this table that I have here, and basically this is just acting as a sieve, and that's gonna remove any other roots, because I want to make sure to get them all out. And then I'm going to reuse the soil that fell through here and just put them back in the pots. And then I will top them with new soil, and then I think we'll be ready. I don't have the bricks or whatever I'm going to use to raise the pots up off the ground yet, so you won't actually see me do that. But I think you get the idea. Just don't sit it directly on the ground, or I'm gonna have that same situation where so I'm gonna go ahead and sift the soil, put it back in the pots, and I think we'll call it a day. So I still have all of this ground to do, which is going to go in this huge pot. I've pulled out this many tree roots, which is kind of crazy to me, but and I also figured out how to work smarter rather than harder, and I'm using my table and actually putting it over the pot to sift the dirt directly into the pot, so I don't have to move it again. But I am so amazed. Like, this is the same soil that I have sifted and removed all the roots, and honestly, look how nice this is. It looks like brand new soil. So that's fantastic. I did leave lots of room because I have some new soil over here. I'm not gonna do it today, but I will add some new soil when I plant the new plants in here, and I will also shake in some like granular fertilizer in this bottom portion here, just to kind of freshen it up a little bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. So that's everything for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you are having a good day, and don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next garden video. Have a great day.